Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. We are going to be looking at the CPI data. We're going to be looking at what that means for rate cuts and even emergency rate cuts. We're going to be presenting the first ever Circle earnings. We're going to be talking about the Bullish IPO. We're going to be talking about the XRP chart. We're going to be talking about the Trump tariffs. This is a jam-packed show, whether you're watching it live or watching it later on. So please do hit the like button and let's get straight into it. Breaking right now, Circle shares rise as second quarter revenue jumps 53% on strong stablecoin growth. We've got some the earnings data just out on Circles, and we'll be on Circle, and we're going to be covering that earnings report very shortly. We've also got CPI coming out. CPI data will be coming out in just under an hour. I will be covering it live on the show. This, as I said last week, this is going to be the most important CPI data we've received in a couple years. This is going to be very important. This is going to be the decision on whether rate cuts are coming, whether emergency rate cuts are coming, whether the Fed are going to be in a very, very sticky situation where inflation is up and unemployment is up. Their dual mandate approach could be out of the water over
Thomas
here.
Morrow 2501 donated £2 through a super chat. VVVR chart please Sensei.
Vivo Power is something we've been looking at for a long time. It's one of those companies that have been buying XRP as a treasury, not only as a treasury like other companies do for Bitcoin, where they just buy it so the price goes up. Well, these companies buy it because the price goes up and they can use it. And Vivo Power is something we've been looking at. I think last time I said it's going to be a very good area that I'm looking to buy was around $3.64, around $4. That level there, that bounce was a major buy for me. And since then, we are up about 63% in like 2 days. That's incredible. Resistance is about $6.71. Next resistance is about $9. I'm sort of long-term, medium-term bullish on this company. But thank you for your request. Remember, nothing I say in this video is financial advice. This is my thoughts and opinions only. Please do not buy or sell based off anything I say. Please make sure you hit that like button. Smash that like button right now. We're going to put the music on and then we're going to get into all the information with Circle, the earnings call, the XRP chart, the inflation, what Fed Jerome Powell's going to do, the deep dive stories, all of that is coming up. So let me put the music on. Let's get the likes to 100 and let's get ready.
The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Let's smash the like button and get ready for the Circle earnings, the XRP chart, CPI, a lot coming up in this show. Let's get to 100 likes. If you've already hit the like button, go into the comment section and hit the like button there as well. I'll show you how to do that. Look at the screen now. We'll be getting into all the news. We need 100 likes first. Let's see if we can do it. Share this video out to all your friends. very sleepy. Only 37 likes, 150 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 100. If you haven't done it yet, smash that like button. To get into all the information: CPI, XRP, Circle, Bullish IPO. All you have to do is smash that like button. Thank you everyone for doing that. So, what is coming up in this live stream, or if you're watching later as a video? As you can see, the timer is on. 46 minutes to the most important CPI report I think we've seen in over 2 years. I think this CPI report is that important, and that's why we're going to be sharing it live on the show with everyone watching. We're actually going to be covering it twice. Martyn is also going to be covering it at the same time. So make sure you stay with me and you don't go over to Martyn. We'll be covering it live on the show twice at the same time when it gets released, and then I'll be going straight into the Circle earnings call. Right now we've got the Circle information coming out, so let's go straight into this article. You've got Circle, which is actually up 7%, slightly selling off now, but up 7% as soon as this news came out. So why is it up? Well, Circle shares rise as second quarter revenue jumps 53% on strong stablecoin growth. So, Circle Internet Group shares jumped Tuesday after reporting its first quarterly earnings as a publicly listed company. The stablecoin issuer reported a 53% increase in revenue, which rose to 658 million in the second quarter. That is a 53% increase in revenue from 430 in the same period a year ago, driven by strong growth in stable coins. Shares of the stock rose more than 7% in pre-market trading. Circulation of USDC, the stablecoin Circle issues and manages, grew 90% from the previous year to 61.3 billion. So, Circle, the way they make money, 99% of the way they make money, so that's all you need to worry about, is the interest they earn on their holdings. So you buy a USDC coin, instead of them buying $1, they might buy $1. They'll probably buy US treasuries, which earns them interest, bonds, stuff like that. They'll buy that, they'll earn a yield, and that's how they make their profit. So the more people that buy Circle stable coins, the more that USDC grows, the market cap grows, the more money they make. However, if interest rates change, that's the biggest thing that's going to affect their trading. One is going to be the cyclical cycles of trading volume and how much stable coins people own. And the second one is going to be interest rate changes. So whether that is, predominantly if the Fed is going to be increasing or reducing rates. So in the current climate, the forecasts are that over time rates are coming down. So that's going to affect their business unless they can start growing the use and maintain the profit. So the CPI report that we're going to be covering live on the show in 43 minutes is going to be is going to affect Circle's business a lot, and I expect that they're going to mention that within their earnings call. So that's just a bit of backstory on how Circle actually makes money with their USDC token. So Circle also said it swung to a net loss of 452 million or $4.48 a share from the earnings of 32.9 million or break even per share a year ago. The net loss included non-cash IPO related charges of 424 million for stock-based compensation and 167 million to adjust the fair value of its convertible debt. The company issued guidance projecting between 75 million and 85 million in other revenue for the rest of 2025, as well as adjusted operating expenses of 475 million to 490 million. And this is probably another reason why their price is going up today. Let me just check we're running okay. 85 million in other revenue. Oh, okay, let me make sure that's off. Okay, so let me just mute that. We've got the Circle earnings getting ready to start. That's what that is. Brilliant. We've got the presentation. We are ready to start that in about 15 minutes, and then we'll go over back into the CPI data, which is coming out in 42 minutes. So let me mute that and unmute that. That's all okay now. This is one of the reasons the price is up today. So Circle also announced a new blockchain called ARC, designed to be a network for stablecoin payments, FX and capital market applications. It will be integrated across Circle's platform and services and will begin testing among developers in fall. Circle, led by CEO Jeremy Allaire, is one of the earliest companies in the crypto industry and issuer of USD coin, commonly referred to by its ticker USDC. It is the second largest stablecoin in the world, making up about 26% of the dollar-backed stablecoin market behind Tether's USDT, which makes up about 67% according to Crypto Quant. So that is why we're up today on Circle. We're going to be covering its earnings call very shortly in about 13 minutes time. Then we'll be back to interrupt our Circle earnings for just a couple minutes to cover the CPI. Because why am I covering CPI? Well, let me tell you the story behind CPI. So make sure you are hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribing because we have a jam-packed show for you today. So the Fed's most critical inflation test yet. This is going to be the most important CPI report we've seen in the last couple months. Why? Well, the Federal Reserve faces its most challenging inflation crossroads in months today, as July CPI lands at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You've got the time on the screen, and we'll be coming back to it when that runs out. With unemployment rising, tariffs accelerating, price pressures, and markets pricing in 80% plus probability of September rate cuts, this single data point could determine whether the Fed can fulfill both sides of its dual mandate or be forced into an uncomfortable trade-off between fighting inflation and supporting employment. Remember, they've got a dual mandate: support employment and fight inflation. Well, if inflation's going up and unemployment rates are going up, then they've failed at their job and they don't have a solution to that answer. And that's what we can figure out in 39 minutes. Is that the problem that's going to be facing us? And if that is a problem, if the CPI is above what we're expecting, and I'll give you all the numbers in a second, if it's above that, then I expect a massive market crash. In all honesty, that's my thoughts. So please, but don't trade on that. Don't trade on the numbers. Just be prepared for all situations. So the numbers that matters: consensus forecasts show inflation accelerating for the third consecutive month, with headline CPI expected to reach 2.8% year over year. You can see here that the chances of a rate cut are quite high in September at the moment. However, if inflation goes up today beyond what is expected, this rate cut probability will probably come down, maybe towards 50%, 30%, 40%, and then we're in a serious troubles with if we don't get a rate cut in September for the jobs market. So core CPI is projected to hit 3% annually, the highest since February and well above the Fed's 2% target. Monthly core CPI is forecasted to rise about 0.3%, the sharpest increase in 6 months. The Cleveland Fed now forecasts July core CPI at 3.02%, reversing earlier disinflation progress as Trump's tariffs drive higher prices. And this is when we start seeing, and I know I said it last month, but in the next, from last month to about 3-4 months down the line is when we start really seeing the impacts on tariffs. But because the China tariff has now been extended for another 90 days, it might take longer, but at least we'll see the effects on the other markets as well. So tariffs, the primary culprit, tariff pass-through, is now evident. July CPI showed clothing up 0.4%, footwear up 0.7%, and furniture reversing previous declines with a 0.4% gain. If you are live with us, make sure you hit the like button. We're going to be covering the Bullish IPO. We're going to be covering the Circle earnings. We're going to be covering the CPI report. We're going to be covering the XRP chart. So a lot coming up. All you have to do is subscribe and hit the like button. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that. So we know tariffs are starting to hit the markets, but not to a great extent. I expect that will happen in the next few months, and especially when that China deal gets sorted as well, because that's when we'll have tariffs there as well. So US tariffs rates have reached 18.6%, the highest since 1933, with IMF research showing long-term damage to output, productivity, and employment. The jobs market contraction. July jobs report showed only 73 positions, and this is the issue. We've got inflation that's possibly going up today. Well, we know it's actually rising. Consensus saying it's rising, but it's going to rise larger than expected. We don't know if that happens. That's an issue. But also the other side of the story is the jobs market contraction. So July jobs report shows only 73,000 positions added, far below expectations, with prior months revised down by 258,000 jobs. They revised the figures down, which they normally do, but they revised it down by a massive extent, by about 260,000. Unemployment rose to 4.2%. That's now starting to creep up. The labour force participation rate fell to 62%, and the 3-month average job growth dropped to 35,000, below population growth needs. And this puts Fed in the impossible challenge, the Fed's impossible choice. Fed officials face both rising inflation and rising unemployment. Philadelphia Fed's Patrick Harker warned of simultaneous pressures, while Chicago Fed Austin Goolsbee noted that both sides of the mandate are worsening, that they're failing at their job right now. July meeting showed rare dissent as governors Bauman and Waller voted for a 25 basis point cut. Bauman still expects 3 cuts in 2025. Now, internally as well, there's issues, and those issues are some of the Fed governors want cuts and some don't. That hasn't happened in a very long time. So we've got the Fed is not looking too good either internally, and that brings uncertainty to the market. So the market expectations versus the Fed reality. CME FedWatch shows around a 90% probability, that's dropped in the last couple of days to maybe 80%, of a September cut, up from 37% a week earlier. But Powell has signaled patience and willingness to look through tariff-driven inflation. JP Morgan now sees September cut, partly due to Trump's nominee Stefan Miran dovish stance. Scenario risk. So these are the numbers that you need to look out for in 35 minutes time. Remember, what we're going to be doing is covering the Circle earnings. So we're going to pause the Circle earnings, look at the CPI inflation, and then go straight back to the Circle earnings, because this inflation report will massively impact Circle and will massively impact the markets. Martyn is also going to be live in the meantime. So hot CPI, 2.9% plus. That would be hot. That right now, what we're expecting is 2.8. If we get 2.9% or more, alarm bells should be ringing in your head, and your portfolio is probably going to be going down. So it undermines cut expectations, boost the dollar, and pressures equity. So I expect equities to come down. I expect the dollar index to go up, and I expect rate cut probabilities that we're looking at in September. Right now, it looks very likely we're going to get rate cuts. If we get very hot CPI, that likelihood will go down. If we get it in line with what consensus is, which is 2.8%, it maintains cut bets but tests tolerance for above target inflation. So it's not the best news, but it's what the market is expecting. 2.8%. the probabilities will probably stay the same at around 80% cuts in September, maybe slightly higher, but it does test the tolerance for above target inflation. If we get soft CPI, this is the best thing. If we get below 2.8, maybe 2.7 or 2.6 or lower, that signals broader weakness, possibly justifying a 50 basis point cut. If we get 2.6 or lower, expect a 50 basis point cut. So you can get emergency rate cuts at that point. You can get big rate cuts at the next FOMC meeting. So a lot can happen in the next 33 minutes, and that's why you need to stay with us. So make sure you have hit that like button, make sure you have subscribed, and I'll go over those numbers in a second. So this is the Fed's most crucial data since the pandemic. Today's print will set the tone for rate cuts, markets, and credibility heading into year end. I do think this is the most important data since the pandemic times. I think this is going to be the most consequential in terms of rate cuts and the Fed policy. Why? Well, because they've got two things going wrong. Inflation is quite sticky and up, and you've also got jobs data looking quite bad and the economy looking bad. To fix those problems, you have to do the opposite thing. So if you get a hot CPI print, 2.9% and above, expect a crash in the markets, especially if it's higher than 2.9%. But if you expect 2.9%, I expect the market to go down. If we get consensus, which is 2.8%, depending on what the little data points are, I'd expect not too much volatility. There's always volatility around CPI, but I don't expect a massive amount of volatility if you're around 2.8%. What you then look for is jobs data and how that's going, but I would expect the rate cut odds to stay the same, around 80% of a cut in September. However, if you get a soft CPI, if you get 2.6%, 2.7% or lower, this signals broader weakness, which actually means they can do an emergency rate cut, or they can do a 50 basis point cut in September. That would sort of push the markets back up, in my opinion. If you get a soft CPI print anywhere around 2.6%, the markets will rally. 2.9% and above, the markets will crash. 2.8%, they'll be volatile but remain where they are broadly. So it's going to be a volatile one. We'll be covering it live in 30 minutes, but in a couple minutes time, what we're going to be doing is listening to the Circle earnings. So let me bring up the Circle earnings because that's what we're covering now. But CPI is going to affect Circle. It's going to affect the whole market. But that is coming up. It hasn't started yet. Let me just tune in. Nope. That is starting in a couple minutes time. Remember, Circle shares have just risen on second quarter revenue, jumping 53% on strong stablecoin growth. They're also launching their own blockchain. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot about that in the earnings call. I think that is what's reported. Circle also announced a new blockchain called ARC, designed to be a network for stablecoin payments, FX, capital market applications. So that is also the news on that. When will the data be released? It's literally, I can't make it any clearer. It's on the screen. You can see it. It's on the screen, and we'll be covering it live. What's stopping them from fudging the numbers again? Yeah, we'll see. The numbers always get revised at that point. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Circle earnings are starting. We're covering it now. 30 minutes time. It's the most influential CPI data. We're going to be covering it live on this on this channel and also on this show. We've also got more information about the Bullish IPO that's actually confirmed to be tomorrow now, and I've got the XRP chart all lined up for you. So what we're going to move into now is the Circle earnings. That is getting ready to start. What is Circle doing right now? Circle is up about 6% on the day. This is going to be volatile throughout the earnings call. They've got a new blockchain they've announced, and this is their first ever earnings call. This will give us some insight into the Bullish IPO. This will give us some insight into what interest rates mean for companies that are heavily influenced by it. And Circle, there is no other company that's more influenced by interest rate decisions than Circle. Then we've got the interest rate decision that could crash or pump the market happening in 29 minutes. So a lot in this show. Let me just have a quick look at XRP. I know it's probably down on the day right now. Actually, no, it's flipped, hasn't it? Now it's up. It is pumping, and since a couple hours ago. It's at $3.15. It's exactly as I predicted. Remember, we got the best news possible on the or the second best news possible. The SEC case came to an end, and we dumped. I said we'll go to $3.40 live on the show. 2 minutes after that information was announced, we were live on the channel. So that's why you need to make sure you're subscribed. We cover everything on the channel, whether it's IPOs, whether it's earnings, whether it's XRP news. We cover it all. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button. I said 340 and we'll probably sell off. That's happening right now, but the whole market is about to get a whole. It's going to be a very consequential one. So I think Circle earnings has just started. Let me go here. Not yet. It's going to start any second now, but let me just make sure I do this. Yeah, Martin, I've got your message. I keep that open, so I'm just setting that up. Okay, so we're going into the Circle earnings. Stay with us because the CPI report will be coming out shortly as well.
Q2 2025 earnings call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session.
Circle earnings, then straight into CPI. Stay with us.
Simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. I would now like to turn the call over to John Andrews, Vice President of Capital Markets and Investor Relations. John, please go ahead.
Good morning and welcome. This is John Andrews, VP of Capital Markets and Investor Relations at Circle, and I'd like to welcome you to our second quarter 2025 earnings conference call. We are excited for all of you who have joined us this morning as we take another key step on our journey as a public company with our first earnings call. I'm joined by Jeremy Allaire, our co-founder, Chief Executive Officer and Chairman, and Jeremy Fox-Geen, our Chief Financial Officer. Earlier this morning, we posted our earnings press release and earnings presentation on the Circle Investor Relations website, investor.circle.com. A transcript of this call will be posted on that website once available. I do need to remind everyone that our earnings release, presentation, and this call contain statements that are forward-looking. Because forward-looking statements are inherently subject to risks and uncertainties, some of which cannot be predicted or quantified, and some of which are beyond our control, we should not rely on these forward-looking statements as predictions of future events. The events and circumstances reflected in our forward-looking statements may not be achieved or occur, and actual results could...
This is the Circle earnings. We'll be covering CPI straight after this, but this is the first ever Circle earnings. Very important to keep an eye on.
Could cause these results to differ is included in our SEC filings. We will also disclose non-GAAP financial measures in the call today. Definitions of those non-GAAP financial measures and reconciliations to the most comparable GAAP financial measures can be found in the earnings release and earnings presentation that are available on our investor relations website at investor.circle.com. Non-GAAP financial measures should be considered...
Please do hit the like button. Let's see if we can get up to 250 likes.
Out of the way, it's with pleasure. Let me turn it over to Jeremy Allaire.
Thank you, John. I'm pleased to be here this morning. It's been an honor to bring Circle public and host our first earnings call. We are thrilled to work with so many world-class people, partners, and investors. We started this company 12 years ago with an ambitious mission to build a new internet financial system with blockchains and digital currency that could increase global economic prosperity through the frictionless exchange of value. We and the entire market are in the early stages of that vision, literally graduating from the early adopter phase of blockchain technology and digital currency into the mainstream adoption phase that is accelerating. I want to start with some key highlights from 2025. USDC, the core of our stablecoin network, has grown to $61.3 billion at June 30th, and growth has accelerated into Q3 to $65.2 billion in circulation as of August 10th, representing approximately 90% year-over-year growth and 49% growth year-to-date, making USDC the fastest growing major stablecoin over the past year. In Q2, USDC on-chain transaction volume grew 5.4x year over year to nearly $6 trillion. Our transaction volumes have also accelerated into Q3, with $2.4 trillion in transactions in July alone. We have been rapidly expanding Circle's platform and network with major new products, including Circle Payments Network, which we believe will become a breakthrough in global money movement by building an on-chain native payments network that will move money faster and more efficiently and opens up new utility through programmable payments. Circle Gateway, which enables seamless cross-chain USDC experiences. 8 new blockchain partners, and ARC, our new Layer 1 blockchain network, which we are announcing today. More on that later. Post-IPO and Genius Act, we are experiencing rapid expansion in commercial opportunities with major mainstream companies across every sector of finance and technology, including companies from all around the world. And from a corporate mission perspective, we joined Pledge 1%, a global movement for corporate impact. To honor this commitment, prior to the IPO, we reserved 2.7 million shares of our Class A common stock for future donations to our Circle Foundation. As we look at the overall stablecoin market, we believe that the total addressable market for stablecoins and our products is massive, with dollar stablecoins only representing a mere 1% of the US M2 money supply, but with continued rapid growth in stablecoin supply. Today, Circle operates the largest regulated stablecoin network in the world. We talk about this a lot. Stablecoins are network businesses and have meaningful network effects. Growth of our stablecoin network is driven by our platform, our blockchain protocols, and the developers building applications and services on our network. That expands the Circle on-chain ecosystem and is the classic flywheel that has driven the growth of our stablecoin network since its launch in 2018. Like other internet platforms and network businesses, stablecoins are a winner-take-most market as liquidity and utility complement each other and drive growth. There have been many regulated and unregulated dollar stablecoins, and many more to come, but the strength and resiliency of Circle's network effects positions us well to compete and grow. Turning to the regulatory environment, Circle's market and competitive strength is further cemented with the signing of the Genius Act, creating powerful tailwinds for Circle. We believe this law will accelerate stablecoin adoption by major financial institutions, mainstream enterprises, technology companies, and ultimately drive much broader use of stablecoins across retail and wholesale payments, as well as broader usage in TradFi capital markets. This is likely the catalytic moment for the mainstream scaling of stablecoins, and we are already seeing this in our business momentum. Turning to our products and platform, we are continuing to make progress with our core digital asset products, USDC, EURC, and USYC. With USDC, we expanded our distribution onto 8 new blockchain networks in 2025 and significantly expanded CCTP version 2 availability, both of which continue to cement USDC as the most liquid and available on-chain dollar stablecoin. We also now offer a yield token, USYC, that can be used in both digital asset and traditional capital markets as collateral, with 24/7, 365 liquidity between USYC and USDC. We're now executing that strategy, driven by our expanded partnership with Binance, who will now make USYC available as collateral, unlocking a very powerful use of USYC on the largest exchange in the world. And we're already seeing accelerating adoption there. We've continued to expand our core banking and liquidity capabilities, including with multiple GSIBs, strengthening our unrivaled industry position. During Q2, we undertook the launch of one of the most ambitious new product investments, Circle Payments Network, our initiative to transform international money movement, which today already has active payment corridors in Hong Kong, Brazil, Nigeria, and Mexico. We have rapidly grown our pipeline of financial institutions interested in launching on CPN to over 100 firms. We have an ambitious roadmap and will continue to expand CPN's features and use cases, from international money movement to other types of payments such as consumer and B2B payments, and still further into global capital markets and corporate treasury services. We're incredibly excited to see this level of interest so soon after CPN's launch. In July, we introduced Circle Gateway, which abstracts away the complexity of holding USDC on different blockchains and in different wallets, streamlining usability and speeding transactions that use USDC. This is a key building block in bringing USDC into more mainstream financial and payment applications and creates new monetization opportunities for Circle. Now, I'd like to turn to a very special and major new platform initiative that we are announcing today, ARC. ARC is a new blockchain network from Circle that we will launch in the second half of the year. We are at the fulcrum of a massive mainstream embrace of stablecoins in the financial system, and firms are racing to build on this infrastructure. But until now, the blockchain infrastructure needed to meet the most intense demands of major financial firms and enterprises has simply not existed. We are delivering that infrastructure with ARC. ARC is a new layer 1 blockchain that is compatible with Ethereum infrastructure, but operates as a standalone network. Some key facts about ARC. We wanted to create a way for institutions to pay fees on blockchains in a fast, predictable manner that would be simple from an accounting perspective and could deliver very low cost and stable fees. So with ARC, we are using USDC itself as the native gas fee currency. This removes the complexity of paying transaction fees in a native token. ARC offers enterprise-grade performance and real settlement finality. Financial institutions and regulators expect deterministic finality, which ARC will achieve with Circle-vetted professional validators and its novel consensus mechanism. ARC will also offer configurable privacy controls with opt-in confidential transfer features, which is essential for real-world business and financial applications, and also supports regulatory compliance. And finally, ARC will be integrated across Circle's entire product portfolio and will also provide best-in-class USDC liquidity and interoperability across the wide range of blockchain networks we already support. We are very excited about ARC and have shared more information, including a brief paper and platform details on circle.com and the ARC website. Now let's turn to growth and adoption. Just in the past few months, we've seen incredible engagement and interest in working with Circle from major firms in every sector of the financial system, as well as internet and technology companies, and this is consistent and accelerating all around the world. I'd like to highlight a few examples from our recent periods. In digital assets, we've launched and expanded key partnerships with Binance and OKX, two of the largest exchanges in the world. With Binance, we've significantly expanded our partnership to include broader use of Circle technology. We're also continuing to see strong traction and partnerships in DeFi, including our planned launch of USDC on Hyperliquid, one of the fastest growing on-chain exchanges and ecosystems. Major cross-border payment firms like Remitly, MoneyGram, and Zeps are integrating USDC into their payment networks. And Stripe made USDC central to its new global stablecoin financial accounts for businesses. Visa, MasterCard, and others have publicly announced new products and plans that would expand availability and usage of USDC on their networks. I'm particularly excited that banking and payments infrastructure providers like Matera, Fiserv, FIS, and Corpay all announced deals with Circle to add stablecoin capabilities and our technology into their product infrastructure that combines serves tens of thousands of banks and financial institutions. Now turning to digital asset trading markets, which continue to remain a key priority and a significant growth opportunity for Circle. Since we launched initiatives to drive USDC in the digital asset markets in early 2024, our share of spot trading volume has grown from 1% to 10% in Q2. And through our partnerships and growth initiatives, we are highly focused on continued market share gains. Digital asset firms globally are focused on working with the most trusted and compliant leader in stablecoins. To summarize, let me reiterate the advantages of our stablecoin network. Circle is uniquely positioned to lead in the mainstream adoption of blockchain and stablecoins. Our platform powers developers, enterprises, and institutions to build on the Circle stablecoin network, leveraging our deep liquidity infrastructure and seamless global bank connectivity. We provide primary liquidity in every major financial center and have facilitated over $1 trillion in USDC issuance and redemption since 2018. With internet-scale distribution across wallets, payment providers, banks, and exchanges worldwide, Circle is becoming the default choice for institutions selecting stablecoin network. Our market-neutral model invites broad adoption of our platform from even the most competitive players. Our trusted, regulated status and long-standing policy engagement, capped by the passage of the Genius Act, fortifies our position as the industry's most reliable foundation. Together, these strengths create powerful competitive bulwarks and network effects that compound, driving exponential growth for Circle. With that, I will turn things over to our CFO, Jeremy Fox-Geen.
Thank you, Jeremy, and good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you all for our first earnings as a public company. I'll start by walking briefly through the fundamentals of our business and financial model, and then turn to the financial and operating results for the quarter. As Jeremy noted, stablecoins are network businesses with internet-scale potential. Successful networks are valuable and enduring, and our strategy is to build the largest stablecoin network. We make money in two ways. First, we monetize the money stock on the network through reserve income, which we earn on the cash equivalent assets we hold to back our stablecoins. And we are also starting to monetize certain transaction flows and elements of our network infrastructure. While these other revenues are small today, they are growing, are high margin, and also have the potential to scale rapidly with network adoption and usage. Finally, we are an internet platform business with a highly scalable model and inherent operating leverage with the potential to deliver strong profit growth and margin expansion over time. Let me now review the quarter. Circle's stablecoin network continues to grow strongly. USDC on-chain transaction volume was up 5.4 times year on year. CCTP volume showed similar growth, up 4.1 times year on year, demonstrating the importance of blockchain interoperability. Meaningful wallets, defined as wallets holding more than $10 of USDC, were up 68% year on year, as USDC adoption continues to expand globally. USDC in circulation stood at $61.3 billion at quarter end, up 90% year on year, and was at $65.2 billion as of August 10th, up 6.4% since quarter end.
This is very bullish stuff going on right now. I'm going to give you my full analysis at the end. And we've got CPI in about 9 minutes and 50 seconds. It's a very, very important CPI, so stay with us. I'm going to give you 2 links in the chat right now. Please go and repost it. They've just announced a new blockchain. I want the word to get out. I want everyone to come into the stream. So go and repost it, and there might be free tickets for you to claim $1,000 to do it. We'll see if we can set that up later. But I'm going to give you 2 links in the live chat. Please go and like and repost both the tweets. Thank you.
Was partly offset by a lower reserve return rate. Total distribution, transaction, and other costs increased 64% year on year to $407 million. The increase was driven by higher average USDC balances held on Coinbase's platform and other partner incentives as we continue to build and grow partnerships to drive USDC growth and adoption. As a result, our revenue less distribution cost margin was 38% in the second quarter. Other revenue increased to $24 million in the second quarter, up 3.5 times year on year. This was primarily driven by a $13 million increase in subscription and services revenue, mostly from our blockchain network partnerships. Transaction revenues grew strongly to $5.8 million in the second quarter, up from $1.6 million in Q1. Our other revenues carry a higher margin than our net reserve margin and added 2.2 percentage points to margin overall in the second quarter. Total revenue and reserve income less distribution, transaction, and other costs was $251 million in the second quarter, growing 38% year on year. Adjusted operating expenses, which excludes depreciation and amortization, non-operating digital assets.
The first tweet to repost is in the live chat.
Were $128 million for the quarter, as we continue to invest in growing our platform at this pivotal moment for our industry. Adjusted EBITDA was $126 million in the quarter, up 52% year on year, and delivering a 50% adjusted EBITDA margin, reflecting the strong operating leverage inherent in our business model. Now let me turn to our outlook. Our goal is to help investors and analysts understand our business and how we manage it as best as possible. We are at the beginning of meaningful structural shifts in the global markets for money, and we are managing our business for long-term success. As such, we do not intend to give short-term quarterly guidance. We do intend, however, to give full-year guidance on certain key metrics. We will evolve this guidance each quarter with our financial results as needed.
The second tweet is in the live chat. Please go and repost. CPI in 6 minutes. We're covering it live. Biggest report ever. Crash or dump. Massive, massive CPI.
Economy of activity. There is a growing body of third-party research on stablecoin growth, with multi-year forecast CAGRs ranging from 25 to 90%, with a median of 60%. Our core model anticipates multi-year through cycle.
Circle is pumping. I'm going to give you my full chart analysis, up 9% now. CPI is coming up as well, so stay with us until the end. Hit the like button, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. So much going to be happening on this show.
Subscription and services revenue from our blockchain network partnerships, which can vary quarter on quarter, along with transaction revenues, which are small today but growing. We anticipate an RLDC margin of between 36 and 38% for 2025. While RLDC margin for the first half of the year was 39%, we continue to invest in partnerships with industry-leading institutions to grow USDC adoption. Adjusted operating expenses we expect will range between $475 and $490 million in 2025, as we continue to invest in key areas to build out our platform, our capabilities, and our global partnerships. This would represent a full-year growth rate of between 20 and 24%. In closing, we have had a strong first half and are executing at an accelerating pace against the significant opportunity in front of us. Thank you to our investors and analysts for your support and engagement, and we look forward to updating you on our progress next quarter. With that, operator, we can now start the Q&A portion of the call.
Okay, we're going on to Q&A now. This is where it's going to get even more volatile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the Q&A now, but I'm going to remind you in 4 minutes time, we're going to interrupt the broadcast to go straight into CPI, and then we'll be back because CPI is going to be massive. It's going to be volatile for Circle. It's going to be volatile for the whole market. Stay with us because then I'll give you my analysis on Circle. I'm going to give you why it's not an issue for XRP and my thoughts on that. And I'll also be giving you a link to $1,000 giveaway that we're doing live on the show. So stay with us, hit the like button. Let me go into the Q&A now. Let's do it.
Hey, Jeremy, great results here, and congrats on your IPO, which was obviously a great success, and your first earnings call. Just a couple for me. One, the news on ARC, obviously very exciting. Do you believe that the gas fees and the like are, the first step here in the revenue model for USDC, for maybe, for transactions away, from trading pairs and the like, is ARC going to be, and the gas fees going to be, kind of the basis for transaction fees here, for broader transactions with USDC? And I'll have a quick follow-up.
Sure. Thanks, Joe. Look, a few things here. First, we're very excited about ARC. There's a lot more information out about it. ARC, we want to underpin, all stablecoin finance, payments, FX, capital markets applications, and it's really designed to support mainstream regulated financial institutions who want to build on chain and build financial, products and services on chain. And so we're excited, and we believe that a lot of traffic can move onto a network like ARC. And yes, the gas fees, which are denominated in USDC, can become a source of revenue. And we'll certainly, as this goes into testnet and ultimately launches on mainnet, we'll have a lot more to say about that. But I would also say, just to contextualize it, we have a number of transaction fee revenue streams that are emerging. And Jeremy referred in his remarks to the kind of growth in transaction fee revenue, which was very solid on an annualized basis, and we're continuing to see. So many new products and services that we're building include transaction fee components to them. And, of course, that includes CPN as we scale that, and it includes, premium features of Circle Mint. It includes features of USYC, our yield token. And so we're adding more and more transaction fee models, but you are correct that ARC does have a underlying gas fee transaction fee model built on USDC.
Sure. Great. Thanks, Jeremy. And then just, on the USYC theme, maybe drill down a little bit on that expanded relationship there with Binance, with a focus on USYC, and maybe just a little color on, expanding that into USYC and not just USD. Thanks a lot.
Sure. A couple of things of note. So as noted in my comments, we have expanded our partnership with Binance. That includes both around USDC and USYC. With USDC, they're continuing to adopt
CPI in 1 minute. Stay with us.
There's sort of deeper support and integration with Circle's wallet technology, which is going to help promote and grow the use of USDC on their platform. And so they've been a great partner, and they're leaning into both the technology and really driving USDC growth. The partnership around USYC is really important. When we acquired the product and then very recently relaunched the product, we designed it to be something that could be used as a yield-bearing collateral instrument. And when you look at global exchanges today, and Binance is the largest global exchange, there's an enormous amount of collateral posted in those markets.
What we're going to do is interrupt the broadcast for just a second because inflation is coming out any second now. Inflation is coming out in 1 minute. And what I want to do is remind you of the numbers that we're looking at for this inflation report. This is the most important inflation report we've got since the pandemic. And that's my thoughts, and that's what I'm going to be telling you about right now. We've got 30 seconds. The report is going to be out very, very shortly. So what I'm going to do is I will go here. I'll get this all live up to speed so that we get it straight away. That is now playback speed of 4. We're going to get that in any second now. But the numbers you need to be aware of, 2.9% and higher. That will be awful for the markets. That will be crash for the markets. That's, in my opinion, again, nothing's financial advice. Please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. 2.9% and above is going to be awful. If it's 2.8%, that's in line. This is year on year. And soft below 2.6%, that's going to be great. Potentially not great for the economy because it signals weakness, but we can have an emergency rate cut. We can have a 50 basis point cut. If it's 2.8%, we'll probably keep the odds of an 80% rate cut in September. If it's 2.9% above, it will be, why is this not live? Here we go. Let me play this for you. CPI is coming out right now. We're going to get the results any second now.
Outperformance on the Russell, the small caps up by 0.4. In the bond market, 2-year, 10-year, 30-year bond yield shaping up as follows, unchanged as well. This market has been a snooze all morning anticipating this number. The 10-year at 428.49, the 2-year at 377. With your economic data, here's Mike McKee. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, John. Well, let's see what we've got here. A rise in the CPI on a month-over-month basis, bang on with consensus up 0.2%. The core is up 0.3%. We'll check that out in terms of 3 digits. On a year-over-year basis, that takes us to 2.7% for headline and to 3.1% for the core on a year-over-year basis. That's more than thought. So this must have been a very high.
Very interesting.
Of 8%. Trying to take a look at
we are lower year on year, but core is higher. This is good. Market's reacting well right now.
Here, see some of the ones that come up when we look at tariffs and the tariffs for
Circle is pumping. We'll be back into the earnings in just a second.
So not a big deal there. But used cars up 0.5%. New cars were up were flat basically on the month. So
look at that. We are pumping like crazy. Look at that 5-minute candle. I told you this is going to be important.
Rent of primary residence up 0.3. Owner's equivalent rent up 0.3 for the 3rd month in a row. Medical care services up 0.8. Motor vehicle insurance only up 0.1. There was a thought that might be higher, but look at airline fares. After being down for 3 months in a row, they're up by 4% on the month. So that's one of the reasons that we are seeing that.
I'm going to let me just make sure I'm live. Yeah, I'm going to mute that because we know I told you it's going to be consequential. I gave you the number if it's 2.7 or lower. We're going to come back and look at all that data in a second, but we're going to go back to the Circle earnings because that is live right now. I'm going to come back with my analysis on CPI and tell you all my thoughts on that. My analysis on the Circle as well and why that doesn't affect XRP in my opinion. Going to come back with the XRP chart. So much for you guys in the show, so stay with me. Back to the earnings school. Make sure you have hit the like button. Make sure you have subscribed. Go and retweet the 2 tweets I'm going to give you in the chat right now. Thank you very much. Back to Circle.
But we've also seen that over the last year, transaction volume growth has been higher than the.
I'm also going to be back with $1,000 giveaway, so stay with us.
The improvements in blockchain technology infrastructure, so that it is faster and cheaper and easier to move these digital dollars around, and that also I think reflects the growth in payment utility that we're seeing for these in emerging and developing markets and peer-to-peer transactions, and so I think it's a mixture of things like that. That we look at. And I think from a very long-term perspective, we certainly are interested in, kind of the monetary theory that will go behind this new internet financial system and money velocity and ultimately how we think about.
I am keeping an eye on the markets right now.
In terms of, impact on economic activity as a whole, but that's a ways off.
That's helpful. And then as my follow-up, I'm curious. CPN's seems to be off to a great start here. a ton of new partnerships that you signed up, some marquee ones, in fact. Curious, what's the next milestones for CPN as you're looking for that network to grow, and what is the interrelationship, I guess, between that you envision between CPN and ARC in the future? Thank you.
Sure. It's a great question. So
crypto market is pumping right now. Circle is pumping.
We launched it, as you know, just very recently in what we consider to be the pilot phase. We've had a tremendous amount of demand from financial institutions that want to become members and want to participate on CPN. Really, the first phase has been about getting, a few key high priority corridors active on that. So we've been able to bring 4 corridors, Hong Kong, Brazil, Nigeria, Mexico on. And as we look at the priorities for ourselves between now and the end of the year, let's just say, we want to bring significantly more corridors on so that money flows can work seamlessly across major developed markets and more emerging and developing markets.
We're going into a pump and dump, possibly. We need to unpack the numbers. We'll do that shortly.
Those corridors so that people who want to move volume through this can. So really, activation of corridors is key. There are a lot of product features that we are developing in response to what the market has told us they need. And so, one of the things that we found is that
the tariff story is delayed by the fact that we've seen fantastic inventory management
integrated and activate on the network, sort of outstrips our capacity to bring them on. And so we're making, self-service product dashboards, self-service, tools for kind of configuring the way flows work for these institutions. And so, that is key, those key product investments, and we hope to bring, a significant number of new members on. And obviously our ultimate ambition is that thousands of members will join CPN and participate in a wide array of payment flows. On the second follow-up question related to ARC, we do see ARC playing a very important role with CPN. ARC is designed to be a purpose-built blockchain for stablecoin finance, for payments, FX, and capital markets. And you will see in the light paper that was made available on our website just shortly ago that ARC itself will include a native FX engine and FX platform within it. ARC will include configurable privacy and opt-in confidential transfers, very important features for money flows between financial institutions, and then obviously a straightforward kind of security and gas fee.
I am digesting the CPI numbers right now. I'm digesting the Circle call right now to see what it means for XRP and Ripple. I'm going to give you the $1,000 XRP giveaway link. So stay with us, subscribe. I'm going to tell you about the Bullish IPO. Remember the Circle's IPO? Well, there's another one coming up tomorrow. Bullish IPO. It's a crypto exchange. I'll tell you all about it. Make sure you have subscribed. Let's get to 95,000 subscribers live on the show. Hit the like button. Stay with me because I'll give you all that information as soon as this ends. So we'll go back to the earnings call. This is Circle earnings call live.
Hey, and thank you for taking my question. I wanted to follow up on payments. The payment opportunity seems to be developing quickly. You guys launched CPN and Coinbase announced Shopify and the building on the Coinbase commerce platform. To what extent are these networks sort of complementary versus competing? And ultimately, is it important for Circle to be the dominant payment network, or is it better to be, sort of one of many networks as long as they're sort of focused on in utilizing USDC?
Thanks, Ken. It's a great question. There are a few pieces to this. So, first and foremost, USDC as a stablecoin network is a market-neutral infrastructure which many, many different types of companies are building on top of, whether those are capital markets firms, trading firms, exchanges, brokerage platforms, neobanks, traditional banks, payment service providers. There's a huge array of companies, networks themselves like Visa and MasterCard, increasing their use of stablecoins and USDC specifically as well. So we expect many different payment networks and many different capital markets, exchanges, and others to build on our stablecoin market infrastructure. We view that as very valuable in growing use cases, very valuable in growing distribution. It can be very valuable in growing the adoption of other technology protocols and services that we also monetize. And so broadly, we've got a big tent mentality here, and we want to see a lot of success across many different types of companies. Now, I think secondly, when a Shopify launches USDC, payment acceptance, and they're using a product from Coinbase to do that, that's great. That's exactly what we want to see from our partners like Coinbase and others. We want to see people building and integrating USDC into commerce flows and into other types of applications. And so as Shopify merchants can accept USDC, that grows the utility of the stablecoin network. That means that digital wallets that are in the hands of the hundreds of millions of Binance users or the 100 million Nubank users or users who use different digital wallet products all around the world that support USDC, that they now have something that they can do with that.
XRP is pumping.
With that. So that grows network value for Circle, and it expands the utility. And that's part of our competitive moat, is this expanding utility through developers that integrate.
This is a great earnings for Circle.
In different ways. I would also say, just as a kind of comment, just in general, we are seeing incredible demand and acceleration from firms in the payments industry, from firms that build infrastructure for supporting payments with a wide variety of companies. Just in recent weeks, we've announced partnerships with, Fiserv, FIS, Corpay, Matera, and these are firms that provide core infrastructure, including payment infrastructure, to tens of thousands of banks and financial institutions, and they're integrating our technology. They're integrating USDC.
Look at Ethereum up 4%. Wow, wow, wow. We're going to do a chart analysis on this as well.
Many different distribution points for how this comes into payments. Obviously, CPN is a very important initiative from us, and we want that to be a very, very successful general purpose on-chain payments network. We believe that the model we're putting forward with CPN is going to be very attractive to financial institutions and ultimately to the customers that they serve.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. And then the Circle IPO, obviously a huge success here. You now have a really valuable currency. What are your thoughts on leveraging the value in your stock to drive additional shareholder value through, various means? Is there an opportunity there?
I can comment on that. I think, first and foremost, virtually everything that we do, has overwhelmingly been the result of organic product development. We are a technology company. We're a software-driven technology company, and we like to build, we like to innovate, but we certainly, from time to time, find teams, find intellectual
Circle is flying right now.
That we do want to add to the portfolio. And in fact, this morning, alongside the announcement of ARC, we announced a small acquisition of both a team and intellectual property that is very important intellectual property in this next generation of stablecoin finance blockchains. So that's an example where we have done that. And earlier this year, we acquired another firm that had a team and core intellectual property around privacy and confidentiality in blockchains. And so we do see opportunities to use our currency to do M&A. But we're careful and deliberate, and I don't think our strategy here is to go try and do big, complex, acquisitions to kind of throw kind of additional business lines next to what we do. I think we take a kind of full stack integrated platform view of what we do, and so we only want to do things that really fit clearly in that kind of product mandate. We've got a lot of organic development happening now, and we're excited to deliver on that.
Great, thank you so much.
Your next question comes from the line of Owen Lau with Oppenheimer. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my question. So first of all, congrats on the quarter and congrats on the successful IPO. For my question, could you please talk about the adoption of USDC in remittance? I know you have some partnerships with remittance companies, but some other are thinking about creating their own stablecoin as well. How do you gauge the adoption here? Is there any way you can quantify for us the penetration for USDC so far? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's a great question. We certainly have continued to see demand in remittance. And by the way,
okay, we're coming to the near of the end of this earnings call. There's a few more questions I know that are going to be important, so we need to listen into the end. Then I'm going to do the analysis on Ethereum because this is massive for Ethereum. Then I'm going to be comparing it to XRP because a lot of people are now worried about XRP and what Ripple's doing. Then I'm going to be telling you about the Bullish IPO because Bullish is an exchange that is IPOing just like Circle did, and it could be exactly the same. Then we're going to be unwinding the decision from CPI as well and what it means because there's mixed signals there. So straight back into it. Martyn is live right now. I'm going to give him a wave because he's on the other, he's on the same channel but live as well.
With USDC, Remitly, MoneyGram, Zeps as well, all of whom have sizable franchises. And CPN itself, the primary use case on it is remittances, both consumer to consumer and B2B. And so we're seeing that as the first major use case on Circle Payments Network as well.
Sorry about that.
I would also say there are indirect things that we look at. So, for example, kind of peer-to-peer flows in different markets around the world. We kind of try and monitor those peer-to-peer flows through various websites that provide data on that, and we've grown our presence in those peer-to-peer flows fairly considerably over the last year. In terms of the general question of other stablecoins, I mean, I think the key thing to understand is that what makes a stablecoin network good for remittance is the liquidity of that stablecoin all around the world. And so what we've been able to do, both through primary and secondary liquidity, is create a tremendous liquidity network. And what does that mean? That means that if I have USDC and I send it to a person in Brazil, it's fast and cheap to get that into a Brazilian bank account in Real. And all around the world, there are these on and off ramp companies that support USDC. So we've built the liquidity network, which eases the way in which people can seamlessly move value in and out of different currencies, e-money systems, and banking systems. And so that liquidity network, which has been many, many years of work with regional banks, global banks, payment service providers, and others, is really something that is very, very difficult to replicate. And so just having a coin doesn't actually really solve a problem in terms of the ultimate delivery of money and the settlement of money and the liquidity of that against all of these different parts of the global financial system.
Got it. That's very helpful. And then as my follow-up, could you please add more color on your partnership with OKX, which is a very large exchange in Asia as well? What is the economic arrangement look like? And how does this deal different from other deals such as Binance and Coinbase? Thanks a lot.
Sure. So first thing I'd say is, digital asset markets are a critical market for us. They continue to grow. They're very sizable. There are many companies, both regional companies and global companies, that are critical there. We have been growing our participation in those markets fairly materially. Our share of spot market volume on the major exchanges grew tenfold over the last since beginning of 24, and so we're really focused on that. And I think as kind of compliance and regulatory integration and having trustworthy, safe stable coins becomes more important, we're finding more opportunities to partner with the biggest exchanges. Now, Coinbase had a head start. They were the first big exchange to really bet on USDC, and that's been great for them. Obviously, we established a partnership with Binance. We've expanded that partnership with Binance, and they're the largest exchange in the world. And with OKX, getting back to your question, we're very excited about the expansion of our relationship with OKX. We don't disclose the material or commercial terms of the specific transaction, but what we've characterized is that they're adopting Circle wallet technology, and we're offering them integration into our core Circle Mint infrastructure so that they can provide the institutions that are coming to their platform with the best possible liquidity experience with USDC. And so they have 60 million users. This is going to help promote USDC to those 60 million users, growing again the value and reach of our network and the utility of USDC. And we hope to do a lot more with OKX as they also become a much more regulated player, regulated in Europe. They're obviously have publicly talked about their launch in the United States. And so it's a very solid firm with a global franchise and an important expansion of our strategy in digital asset markets.
Thanks a lot.
Your next question comes from the line of John Todaro with Needham. Please go ahead.
Everyone, please stay on the call. Lots coming up.
A great quarter and the rollout of ARC. First question related to ARC. How distributed is the goal for ARC from kind of a node operator, validator standpoint? How do you ensure gas fees remain low? And then I have a follow-up question.
Sure, absolutely. A couple of things. So one is I would highly encourage you to read the light paper, which was made available this morning. And we talk a little bit about some of these issues there. So there is a novel fee mechanism that we have designed for ARC, which will ensure predictable low costs for transactions, and obviously those transactions priced in USDC. I believe there'll be subsequently significantly more information about the fee market mechanics as we go into kind of public test net. But there's a novel approach that we're taking there. It's very important if you're a financial institution or a commerce firm that you have low and predictable fees and fees that you can pay in real digital cash. And so that's very important. And then in terms of distribution, I think we ultimately aspire that ARC is operated by a fairly large distributed network of professional validators. We are very focused on vetted professional validators that can meet the operational security and compliance expectations for people running this critical infrastructure. We want that to be highly geographically distributed. We want that to be distributed across major institutions as well. And so I think we ultimately believe that this is a tremendous opportunity for financial market utilities, for financial institutions, for large.
Oh, let me make sure that's running. I'm just interrupting that so I can tell you that what's going to happen after this earnings call. I'm going to tell you about XRP and how this might be a competitor to Ripple and what it means. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. CPI has just happened. Ethereum has just exploded and it's continuing to explode. There was mixed signals in the CPI report, so I will be explaining to you that. If you want to know about the $1,000 we're giving away, I'll tell you right at the end of the earnings call. Just let me know in the chat right now. Do you want to win $1,000? If you do in XRP, let me know. If not, I won't explain it to you, and that's fine. There's also Bullish IPO. Remember how Circle IPO'd 2 months ago and it's pumping like this? Well, there's another exchange IPOing tomorrow. If you want all the information on that, stay till the end. But in the meantime, make sure you have subscribed. Make sure you have hit the like button and let me know in the chat which one you want to hear about. Do you want to know about the $1,000 giveaway? Let me know. Back to the Q&A. This is live.
And USDC growth over the past month and a half or so with a specific legislative outcome. I think one could broadly say awareness of USDC is growing around the world. Awareness of USDC as a product that is sort of purpose-built for what the Genius Act represents is interesting, and whether that's affecting user preference, it's very, very hard to know. But my comment, I think that you're referring to is much more around commercial engagement. Since the Circle IPO, And since the final passage of Genius Act into law, we have seen just an incredible amount of inbound interest from financial institutions across every sector of the financial industry, from major technology companies, from large enterprises, and we're seeing that interest coming into us from all around the world in all the geographies that we're in. And so I think this has been a catalytic moment for mainstream institutions to say, okay, now I can play, now I can build, now I can work with this technology. There's obviously also been regulatory relief in the United States for financial institutions to engage in the space, and that's obviously been additive as well. And so we're just seeing the kind of commercial opportunity set that's coming in for us right now growing considerably, which is really exciting. And I think that this is very much something that we talked about while we were going through our IPO and engaging with the market, which is that we believed that Genius Act would be an important catalytic moment and a tailwind to adoption of what we're doing. And now we got to kind of grab those opportunities and make sure we're building the right products and services for these partners, and critically make sure we can put together win-win economic relationships where these customers can deliver value for their customers. They can grow economically. We can grow economically. And that's very much, our fundamental philosophy as we partner with firms around the world.
I just add on to that. Genius has clearly been a major catalytic event from that interest from major financial institutions across every segment of financial activity. I'd make one sort of cautionary note, though. While absolutely necessary for this accelerating growth in USDC and in the internet financial system, financial services companies, particularly the largest ones, integrating with new technologies and rolling that out to their customers typically takes time. And what's tremendous about where we sit is they're exploring deep integrations with us, which leads to stickiness over time. But at the same time, the speed of their rollout will be dependent upon them and their own abilities internally to make progress.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for taking my question, and congrats again.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Jeff Cantwell with Seaport Research. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks. First of all, congrats on the IPO. Also on the passage of the Genius Act, Jeremy, was being signed. I was thinking that for you and many others involved in the crypto industry. It probably was a long journey getting to that point. So I want to say congrats to you and to everybody who helped make that happen. Can you maybe talk about what you've seen? I just want to follow up on the previous question.
So close to 95,000. Please subscribe.
USDC in circulation was 61 billion in Q2. Now in August, it's 65 billion. So it does sound like you're seeing an increase in demand. And I was hoping you can maybe give us a little color as to what you're seeing since the Genius Act was passed just a few weeks ago. Is it more domestic or international or both? Can you just talk more about that? And then also wanted to ask, how are you thinking about the growth in USDC from here? You're talking about a 40% CAGR. So how would you describe where you expect to see that growth come from? Would you mind just bucketing what are the incremental opportunities for USDC as you think ahead? That'd be great. Thanks.
Sure. I'll take part of that, and I'll have Jeremy Fox-Geen take part of that as well. So, the post-Genius demand, again, as we just talked about, I'm mostly characterizing that around institutional interest in building on our stablecoin network, institutional interest in working with Circle, which, as Jeremy Fox-Geen just noted, these institutions and putting together relationships, implementing product, getting those products out and scaling will take time. I think the more recent growth, as I see it, reflects a kind of green light go view within the global environment to utilize stablecoins. That is certainly been fostered by the increasing activity in digital asset markets, but I think it's broadly a kind of a signal to the market that this is now a form of digital cash-like instrument that can be utilized. And so it's going to be interesting to see, and I know that ties into your other question about growth. Obviously, with recent acceleration. We've grown 90% year over year and 49% year to date. But in terms of how to think about that going forward, I know Jeremy Fox-Geen, you have some thoughts on that, and just our general philosophy around how to think about that, because it is not a straightforward thing to guide on, hence the approach that we take.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'll talk a bit about kind of how we view, you referenced the 40% number we put out, how we view that. As I said in my remarks, right, the growth in USDC in circulation in many ways is the output over an entire economy. The digital asset markets were the bootstrap use case for stablecoins and represent the largest part of that economy today. But as I think we've been talking about on this call, we are seeing accelerating interest and growing adoption from every major financial services vertical, for whom these new money technologies can bring tremendous advantages.
Like a lot of you want the XRP giveaway. Well, hopefully we will do it straight after this ends. So I will be giving you the link to it. I'll be explaining how to enter. It's free to enter, free for all. It's not a scam. We're live on the channel every single day, done live on the show. So I'll tell you all about the $1,000 giveaway. It will be sent to you in XRP. You can choose what you want to do with that. So let's continue with this. Thank you for letting me know you want to know about that. So I would make sure I cover that at the end of this. I'll give you my closing remarks, my thoughts on the Circle earnings, my thoughts on XRP and how this affects it, my thoughts on Ethereum, my thoughts on the CPI, and then more importantly, I'll tell you about what Martyn is saying and what he's live right now. And then I'll send everyone there, and he will welcome you all in and give you all his thoughts as well. So you're going to get the full shebang. So stay until the end.
Technologies very, very strongly. When it comes to guidance, our core model, and we run a range of scenarios to enable us to manage the business in an uncertain environment. But our core model suggests a 40% CAGR. And if we can deliver that in terms of USDC growth, we believe that will deliver a compelling financial return for our investors.
I just don't want to confuse anyone. I think Stacey has got the wrong... Stacey, please, can you not confuse the audience? You might have... Everyone knows, so I'm going to give you the link to the giveaway. I've never said the giveaways today. Just be clear, Stacey. Please be careful with what you're saying in the chat, because it's been confusing now. I will give everyone the link to the $1,000 giveaway at the end of this. So stay tuned for the $1,000 giveaway link. It's coming at the very end of this. Stay with us.
Because public investors are still trying to get a better feel for the world of crypto, whereas the world of fiat still is much more familiar for the obvious reason here in the U.S. So maybe can you talk to us about where the $5.9 trillion is being generated? That would be very helpful. Thanks.
I can touch on that, and I think as you know, public blockchain data does not include geographic IP addresses or things like that. But there are very good heuristics to look at this, and in fact, I think there's some excellent third-party research firms that do focused research on blockchain data, blockchain analytics, and we look at that and look at other data sources. What I can certainly say is it's highly distributed geographically. There's an enormous amount of traffic in USDC that is around the world: Europe, Asia, emerging and developing markets, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia. So it is very geographically distributed. And while the U.S. is important, it is not the majority. And so we see that geographic distribution in the data that we're able to look at. And obviously, we can identify activity that is specifically USDC that's moving between exchanges or super wallets and things like that, and oftentimes we'll correlate that to investing activity, savings activity, but also for payments activity. We know, for example, that peer-to-peer payments in emerging developing markets using stablecoins are a significant use case, but most of those peer-to-peer payments are intermediated by the big wallets that are attached to these big kind of what I think of as financial super apps, like the Coinbase products or the Binance products, where people in those markets are using them not just for trading and investing, they're using them for savings, to earn yields, and for P2P payments as well. And so once USDC gets into one of those big platforms, we can't track inside of there exactly all the flows and what people are doing. But those are some comments that I can give. I don't know if you want to add anything, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'd add on a little onto that just to give kind of a top-down conceptual understanding of what this even means, right? In today's world, every money movement use case, so think kind of consumer payments through credit card networks, remittances, international kind of money transfers via SWIFT, every single use case effectively has a different technology delivery stack. With the internet, we are seeing the emergence of the first ever general purpose architecture for money movement. And so on-chain transactions include money movement across all financial services use cases, which is almost a radical difference, certainly a tremendous difference to the existing system. So what does that mean? When we think about those use cases, just as examples, Visa moves somewhat north of $10 trillion a year through its consumer to business and business to business rails. And that's one number that's oft-cited. But let's not forget, JP Morgan, as an example, moves somewhat north of $10 trillion a day in gross money movement and gross money settlement, as well as other use cases. And so all of that is intermingled in on-chain transactions for stablecoins. And so it's as Jeremy said, it's difficult to disaggregate all of those different money uses, but we should not forget that all of those money use cases are represented in these numbers.
Perfect. Great. Thanks again.
Your next question comes from the line of James Yarrow with Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thanks for taking the question. I just wanted to ask, firstly, on the outlook for non-dollar stablecoins and the necessity for growth of these, in your view, to facilitate stablecoin cross-border payments and thus CPN, and then perhaps just how you can, I guess, to what degree you plan to facilitate that with EURC.
Thanks, James. It's a good question. So, over the long run, we are very optimistic that virtually every major country in the world will have a good stablecoin policy regime, and that we'll see, proliferation in high-quality, regulated payment stablecoins. We believe Genius Act is actually driving that. We're seeing that with legislators and governments around the world who are now really racing to get their stablecoin policies in place. And so we do expect that proliferation. We want to work with these non-dollar stablecoins. We obviously issue EURC, and that has done well. But we want to work with these non-dollar stablecoins because on-chain money is more effective and efficient money. It's programmable money. And from a cross-border perspective, if you can have a 24/7, 365 continuously settled, atomically swappable PVP exchange, that's a very powerful building block. And it's one of the reasons why we are building such an engine into our own core blockchain network, ARC, is that we want to see that mature because we think that as a programmable building block for commerce, trade, and various types of capital markets activity, that's going to be really important. Now, short of that all maturing, and we do believe it will mature, it is not necessarily an impediment to growing use of stablecoins in cross-border settlement. And CPN itself really, from the start, the kind of FX model is designed to connect stablecoins to local currency liquidity and local electronic money rails. And so a person, sending, money from, Portugal to a person in Brazil, they might have EURC or USDC sitting on one side of that transaction. And on the other side, there are, essentially takers of that, what we call our BFIs, who have liquidity of USDC against local Brazilian real. And they can effectively, price against existing, kind of prices in the market, or they're competing on price. and then they can effectively use the immediate credit of the USDC to then initiate that near real-time payment on the ultimate bank transferred money. And so there are ways to do that, and there are also ways to have the on-chain FX market basically be an on-chain FX market where the market and the pricing is all completed, but where the fulfillment on the currency side is kind of post-trade. And so that's also a structure that we expect to see develop more as well. But again, long-term, we're very much encouraging of and want to see more and more what we call the local partner stablecoins. We want to see them issue on the ARC blockchain. We want to support them on CPN. We want to support them, in Circle Mint and in our wallets. And we want to be very multi-stablecoin in what we do. And we believe that's part of building the internet financial system.
Very clear. On another topic, maybe you could just talk a little bit about the opportunity for Circle Gateway, and then perhaps how this, I guess, differs or integrates with Circle CCTP.
Yeah, absolutely. So Circle Gateway and Circle CCTP solve similar but somewhat different problems. So CCTP is a protocol at a kind of low level. It's a low-level protocol that allows for cross-chain settlement of USDC across a multitude of different blockchains. It's used quite significantly in cross-chain USDC today.
I'm just going to go and open my window. It's getting very hot now in the UK. We've got a heat wave right now. I'm just going to go open my window. Stay with me. I'm going to be listening in.
That's a kind of a more lower level in a sense. And it doesn't solve kind of what we think of as like the user experience problem. In a world of CCTP, what we find is that there are a lot of wallets, whether it's an institutional wallet or a consumer wallet, where you still end up in a world where you need to kind of know, like, which chains do I have USDC on, and which chains, do I want to get the USDC to? And so the UX is a hurdle. And so Circle Gateway is really designed as an abstraction to eliminate that user experience hurdle. So a user, again, this could be an institution or an individual, just sees a USDC balance. So they say, I have 10,000 USDC, and they can essentially spend that balance in less than a second to any of the supported chains. And so you can kind of just say, hey, I have USDC. What kind of wallet do you have? Or give me a QR code or give me an address, and it can spend seamlessly to those. So it really simplifies the UX. This is part of our goal of just kind of having the crypto disappear into the background and make this a more streamlined experience. So Circle Gateway is a different architecture to accomplish that. And
Craig
and
Edwards
it's something that
3032
we're
has
really
become a
primarily
member.
bringing to market through developers who are going to integrate this into their products and services. And like CCTV version 2, it also does include new opportunities for monetization for Circle. And so, simplified user experience is a feature. We want to monetize that and also just make these products better for people who are using them.
That's very clear. Thanks a lot.
Your next question comes from the line of Brian Bendel with Deutsche Bank. Please go ahead.
Oh, great. Thanks. Good morning. Thanks for taking my question, and also congrats on the very successful IPO. Maybe just a big picture question on growing USDC over time within the industry and the desire to make this a winner take most and increase the scale and network effects of USDC. I guess, Jeremy, what's your appetite for partnering with more institutions, and if that means higher distribution costs and lower reserve margins, is that something that you find appealing to grow USDC, or do you really think about the reserve margin as something you want to keep in that mid-30s range at least?
Yeah, I can take part of that, and maybe Jeremy Fox-Geen can take the other part of it. So first of all, we have a very strong appetite for growing the partnerships, that are going to grow our network. And I would say it's helpful to kind of remind folks that we have many different types of partnerships. A partnership with a digital wallet is completely different than a partnership with a merchant acquirer, which is completely different than a partnership with a large exchange that has hundreds of millions of users. So there are many different types of partners that we work with, and each one of those partnerships, has a unique, deal format to it. So we have a lot of different deal playbooks that we execute. And I think it's sort of simplistic to think that every deal has to do with giving away reserve income. That is not the case. We focus on partnerships where each party is focused on delivering value for their customers. So how are they going to grow value for their customers through this partnership? And B, that it's a win-win growth-oriented model. So we want to build economic relationships that incentivize growth, so that we're seeing that the partnership is actually having an impact on whether it be transaction velocity or market share shift or USDC growth itself. So we really focus on these win-win growth-oriented relationships. It's not a carte blanche. Here's a rate card. Go do this kind of thing. We want to build. We want to build with people who want to build and grow with us, and that's our filter for this. And I think that is working. I think Jeremy maybe can comment more on just sort of how we think about that vis-a-vis our RLDC margin and the outlook there.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'll build on that and then get to the numbers piece of it. It's important to understand that the strength and breadth of our platform capabilities, combined with our position as market-neutral infrastructure, encourages more players and enables even fierce competitors, right, to build on and integrate with our platform. And so our partners then bring the benefits of these new money technologies to their customers, benefiting their customers, building their business, and growing.
Okay, so we are coming up to the end of the Q&A. So what I'm going to do straight after is give you the link for the $1,000 giveaway. I'm going to explain exactly how to participate and make it very simple for you guys. There's a $1,000 XRP giveaway. You'll be sent in XRP. You can exchange that to cash or whatever you like. I'm then going to tell you about what my thoughts are on this earnings, the IPO, and how it's different to Ripple, or if it is different to Ripple, and if XRP is in danger now. I'll be telling you about Ethereum. I'll be telling you about the CPI report. So stay with me. Thank you for everyone who's stayed with me throughout this. Make sure you have subscribed. Make sure you have hit the like button. If you do a super chat, it will be read live on the screen as well. So a lot coming up. Do stay with us. I imagine we're coming to the end of the Q&A now.
So know that, and this is important to remember, growth in USDC held within partner infrastructure, and which may be subject to incentives, also leads to growth in USDC in the ecosystem more broadly, held outside of partner infrastructure. So we see growing strength from network effects. That's the first point. The second, we see growth in USDC held within Circle's platform infrastructure. We have a broad-based, feature-rich platform, as I just mentioned, and our position as market-neutral infrastructure only enables more people to build upon our platform over time. And that's important, and we have greater economic flexibility with USDC held within our platform infrastructure. And then finally, we have growth in our high-margin other revenues, right? Predominantly today, we make money from the stock of money on the network. Over time, and through products we've already launched and started talking about, even as they're nascent today, we will be monetizing certain of the flows across that network infrastructure where we are able to add value-added services to the benefit of the users. And so we see this growth in other revenues over time, and those are very high margin revenues and provide strength to our overall margin over time. So those three things combined, we think, provide longer term a relative strength to our RLDC margin.
That concludes our question and answer session. I will now turn the call back over to John Andrews for closing remarks.
Great, Tiffany. Thank you. And apologies for that couple of people who got stuck in the queue, but we are up against a hard time end here. We are happy to follow up with everybody. You know how to reach us through the investors website at circle.com, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Goodbye.
this concludes today's call. Thank you all for joining. You may now disconnect.
There we go. Okay, what a long earnings call. What a major earnings call. A new product announcement as well. But now, time to get into the analysis. Time to give you the $1,000 giveaway link. I've just put a new poll question. Are you worried about Ripple dominance after this earnings call? I'm going to vote no. And I'll tell you why. So, they are overlapping in what they do. We've already known that they're overlapping. You can see just quick price analysis after CPI, everything went up. Circle actually held its gains, up 10% last I checked. Now it is up 14%. Look at that. Circle is doing brilliantly after this earnings call. This is a major announcement for Circle right now. So if you are watching, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We are trying to get to 94,500 subscribers. There must be people that are watching right now that aren't subscribed. Please do subscribe. So what is the difference between Ripple and Circle? Circle is solving the problem of moving dollars on chain. They want to make USDC available everywhere. And USDC, as you know, is just a stablecoin. It's a tokenized version of the US dollar. The stablecoin market is increasing. It's increasing rapidly. Right now, about 1% of the US dollars in supply are stablecoins. We expect that to go up a lot. When it's on chain, it's much easier to move around. Brilliant. What Ripple does, it solves the problem of moving any currency to another instantly. 3 to 5 second settlement speeds. But that's not what Circle's doing. Circle is focusing on stablecoins. Ripple is focusing on any currency where the monies are actually moving right now. So and Circle requires on liquidity existing. Ripple, their product doesn't even require liquidity existing when they provide their solution. So how do each of them move money? Circle, you can send USDC from one wallet or chain to another. If the person who receives the money wants it in a different currency, then they have to swap it somewhere else. What Ripple does, it uses XRP and also RLUSD with their product on-demand liquidity to automatically convert between currencies during the transaction. So there's no manual swap needed. If you're dealing with USDC, you send USDC, you receive USDC, then you change it yourself. Ripple's product, their on-demand liquidity, automatically converts between currencies during that transaction method. That's what its cross-border payments are all about. So Circle is primarily, and I told you I'm doing writing notes throughout this to give you my thoughts. Anyway, Circle's primarily focused on stablecoin rails and USDC-based payment flows. That's what that's their focus. Ripple is a global network that connects multiple currencies, banks, and payment providers.
Circle CRCL 808 has become a member.
Thank you very much for becoming a member. So Ripple has a global network that connects multiple currencies, banks and payment providers, stablecoins, fiat and crypto included. So it's a global payment infrastructure for cross-border payments. In terms of who controls what and the network, Circle is a centralized control. This is not a decentralized system we've got in place right now. Circle is a centralized control. Arc is fully and owned and operated, their new blockchain, by Circle. USDC supply is issued and custodial. They custody it basically. So that is their network. Ripple is on a decentralized network. This is what's the key difference. The XRP ledger is decentralized. Ripple is one big sort of player within the whole thing. They hold some nodes. They hold some of the supply as a gift to them, and then they're releasing that a small amount of time, but they are not the control of it. They are decentralized. Circle is centralized. Circle gives you the digital the USDC, the digital dollar, and a network to send it. So that's what they provide. They're giving you the USDC and they're providing a network for you to send it on. Ripple gives you a bridge between two assets. It's a bridge. It's an on-demand liquidity. As their product is, they're providing you a bridge. So even if there is no stablecoin here or no direct market access, they are still providing you that bridge. I've got some more thoughts I want to give you about the CPI, the PPI, the Bullish IPO as well, so stay with me for that. I'm going to give you the giveaway link in the next 1 minute as well. So one more thing I want to tell you about is their new blockchain. So Circle has now just announced an ARC blockchain. It's its own layer 1 blockchain. They've just announced it today. That's why the price of Circle is now up 15% pre-market. The gas token on that blockchain is going to be USDC. So make every transaction that's used uses USDC for fees. They're building it. I've got the slide here as well. They're building it for payments, foreign exchange, and capital markets, fast, cheap, and with instant finality. It has a built-in foreign exchange for stablecoin swaps and confidential transfer options for institutions. And why does this matter for XRP and ROUSD? Well, Circle is reducing reliance on other blockchains. They don't need to run USDC on the Ripple net anymore. ARC is USDC only right now, so it's limited to corridors where USDC has liquidity. XRP and ROUSD still obviously matter for all the other currency exchanges. So in my opinion, this doesn't really affect Ripple. In fact, brilliant. It brings a bit more competition on board. Ripple will continue to perform well. I think they've got a lot more experience. I think they've got a better product. It's great to see Circle performing well. If the whole crypto industry does well, then they all benefit. The financial market is so massive, you can have competitors. In fact, it will be great because the competitiveness will create more products for each of these companies, and they can take on more of the financial market. There's a plenty of money going around for both of these companies to really benefit from. So that's my quick thoughts on that. If you do tune in every day, tomorrow I will do a deeper analysis on this as well. But I am not worried at all. The next thing is PPI. What I'm actually going to do for PPI is send you over to Martyn because he has been covering PPI and he will give you his full analysis. Right now, the analysis for me is from looking at the headline figures is or the year-on-year figures is lower than expected. So that's why we've got the pump. The chance of a rate cut in September are looking good. It would have been awful if it was higher. We're about consensus slightly lower, meaning that the rate cut in September is going to happen. The giveaway link, I'm going to give you that in a second, but the more important link, in my opinion, is the newsletter. This will give you so much information. If you're investing in the markets, if you're investing in crypto, if you're investing in the stock market, if you're investing in XRP, Circle, every single day in your inbox, well, first of all, you need news. Where are you going to get your news from? Well, X is terrible for getting news because it's all people trying to click for engagement. If you're looking at the broader news spectrum, you either get it late. There's either someone trying to sell you something, or there's ads. You either have to pay for Bloomberg, Financial Times, CNBC, all these things you're going to have to pay for, and have multiple subscriptions running. Well, I pay for all of them. I look at all the news every single day, put 4 hours of research in, and you get the newsletter that's for you. And what you get is the one big thing. So today was a CPI report. You get the money move of the day, how to handle your portfolio with that CPI information. You get the market snapshot just to give you an idea of what the main markets are doing. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, S&P, NASDAQ, FTSE, the bonds, oil and gold, just as a quick reference. Then you get into the meat of it. You get the 5 things you need to know every single day. If you're a real investor, you need to know the news. You make better decisions once you start understanding the news. You get the 5 things, for example, the China tariff truce for 90 days. You get the chip news. You get all the 5 top things every single day into your inbox. Every trading day on Saturdays, you get the EVTOL special newsletter as well. And we're thinking of doing a Sunday roundup newsletter as well. So every single day, basically, at least every single trading day plus Saturday. Then you get the deep dive story. Today's deep dive was on the most influential inflation test yet. So sometimes it's a stock review. Sometimes it's a crypto review. Sometimes it's what's happening in the market on the day. Sometimes it's about an IPO. Yesterday was about the Bullish IPO, and if you're subscribed to it, you can go to yesterday's newsletter as well. You get it in an app. You can listen to it as an audio on the app. You can look at it on the web. You can have it in your mailbox. It's unlike any other newsletter. It's much better. Then you can. Yesterday's was on the Bullish IPO, so if you want all the information, you can go back and look at previous issues as well. You can just go back and look at every deep dive and you'll learn a lot. Today's one was about inflation and all my thoughts on that, so you can go read it. It still applies now. You get the economic calendar as well, so what's happening every day, what is going to be released. Today was CPI, at what time. You can see what will move the market. Then you get the chart of the day as well, which gives you some of the charts I'm looking at, whether it's a buy zone, sell zone, my thoughts on it. Never financial advice, but always my thoughts on a chart of the day as well. You get that every single day, and I'm going to give you a 1 week free trial. So here is the link to it. It's right now, it's in the live chat. It's the first link in the description as well. This is what the link is. I'm going to give it to you here, and then I'm going to click it here so I can show you what that link will take you to. Let me just actually go over here and type that link in again. If you click on that link, you'll go to this page over here. You can choose. The link here gives you a 7-day free trial. At least try it out. See if you get some good information from it. It works out to about $10 a month. That's about 30 cents a day. It certainly is worth it, in my opinion. If I had this newsletter, if I had access to this newsletter and it was someone else's product, I would snatch it up, even if it was double, triple the price, because I know the value it provides. So I think it's great. It works out to about $10 a month, about 30 cents a day. You can go on a monthly plan if you like, but obviously the annual plan works out in your favor. You got the founding member one as well if you want the white glove service and you want to really support the show. Or there is a free version as well. You can go and check the free version and check it out, but you won't get access to all the premium posts. You won't get access to the deep dive content. You won't get access to contact me directly. You won't be in the exclusive groups where we all talk about what's going on in the markets. You won't get the early insights and all of that, but it's up to you. But I would certainly suggest go checking it out. Now what I'm going to give you is the link to the giveaway, and then we're going to go into the PPI. So the giveaway link is here. So let me just go on to Martyn Lucas / giveaway. Let me go over here / giveaway. So it takes you to this page over here. Am I signed in right now? Yes, I am. So this is the link for the giveaway. Go and click it. This is a free giveaway, free for all. It's in the live chat right now. It's a free giveaway, free for all. The more tickets you get, the more likely you are to win, but you don't have to pay for anything. You can win with just one ticket as well. You go to this page at the bottom, you'll have to sign in, whether it's YouTube, X, or email. This video explains it as well. But you basically have tickets. You can subscribe to me on Substack for free. The free version, if you're already subscribed, you can just claim your tickets and you get 150 tickets. Remember, you don't have to pay for any of this. You can repost Vaz right now for 100 tickets. You can get some magic numbers. You can follow Martyn. You can follow Vaz on X and you get tickets. If you already follow them, all you have to do is just click it and claim your tickets. There's many ways you can get some tickets. They're released every single day. The more tickets you have, the more likely you are to win, but you can win with just one ticket as well. So go check that out. We're giving $1,000 worth of XRP away. Now the link I'm going to give you is Martyn's stream. He is live right now and he's promised me as soon as you all go in and say that Sensei sent me, and that's my name, Sensei. I stream on Martyn's channel. As soon as you go in to his as soon as we end this and go there, he will give you the full breakdown on the Bullish IPO. There's a Bullish IPO coming up. Circle IPO'd a couple months ago. You can see how that went. Now Bullish, an exchange, is IPOing. He's in. He's going to tell you how to participate and how and his thoughts on that. He'll also tell you about CPI. He was covering it. He knows the data points. There was a few things that were mismatched. Overall good, but he'll give you his thoughts on it as well. He'll also give you his thoughts on Ethereum. He's been going deep into Ethereum since conversations with institutions he's been having. So he will give you all of that. CPI breakdown, Bullish IPO, Ethereum, his thoughts on the Circle as well. So I'm going to give you the link now. We're going to go over there. Make sure you have subscribed and hit the like button. We're live every single day with any events. I'll be back tomorrow with the analysis as well, my thoughts on all of this, plus what's happening tomorrow with PPI as well. We've got it all over again, so make sure that will solidify things today and that will break down the data even better. So tomorrow we've got PPI, which is what the Fed's preferred way of looking at inflation. So I'm going to give you the link to Martyn right now. He is live as we speak on the same channel. I'm going to give you the link to Martyn. Then as soon as you guys all start saying Sensei sent me, or if you know the joke, the rooster sent me. I have a rooster and always interrupts my show. Go and into Martyn's show and say that, and then he will give you all the information that you need. So here is the link to Martyn's show. go and click on it. This stream will take you directly there as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's getting very hot. The markets have just opened, so he's covering it as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Go straight into Martyn's stream. Say Sensei sent me. As long as you all just keep spamming that in the channel, he will see that you've joined and he'll give you the full analysis. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.